Hey travelers, Mag and Florida Crafters here on the first of several short adventures on the Big Island of Hawaii. Right now we're starting off in Hilo on Coconut Island, which has a geocache, a couple of adventure labs, and near here there are also two other parks. There's a Japanese garden nearby and there's a beach park nearby. They give us some adventure lab stages to work with, a couple of puzzles, a few earth caches, and it's just a nice intro point to our time here on the Big Island. So let's see what the parks in this area have in store for us. Come on, let's go.
In the Hawaiian language, Coconut Island is better known as Moku Ola. Moku meaning island and Ola meaning life. A long time ago, it was where wounded warriors looking to escape harm would seek refuge. Though it no longer exists, an ancient healing temple once stood here that beckoned the warriors on to seek safety. In more recent years, it has been a place where visitors come to seek the quiet, calm looking out over the waters. It's a very small island, with the opposite shore easily visible from anywhere on the island. At the north end of the island stands a small structure that had our curiosity peaked, inviting us over for a closer look. As it turns out, this is a diving tower that was built during World War II for sailors to jump from high places into the ocean.
Although there's not any geocaches right here at the point on Coconut Island, we just could not resist coming out here. This structure here is pretty neat, and in clearer weather, I've heard that lots of people like to climb up there and jump off into the water below. I had a look and it is clear, you can see straight down into it, and it's pretty deep, but you know for a fact I'm not going to be doing that.
The legend of the island implies that anyone who is sick or feeling ill, not just the warriors, would be healed by swimming around Moku Ola 3 times. Given the small area of this island and its easy proximity to the bigger island, that seems like a very achievable goal. Of course, I also suppose that depends on how sick you are too, because I know when I'm sick, I don't exactly want to go for a swim at the beach. Thanks to both an earth cache and an adventure lab stage, we had an excuse to explore every inch of this island.
This is, by no stretch of the imagination, a big island at all. You can see the far edge right over there, and where we came onto the island, right over here at this bridge. Not much to Coconut Island. You can walk all the way to the end and back and do everything here within less than 5 minutes, but it is a beautiful place where on a day that's not rainy, you could probably set up a chair and spend all day here. Good start to the Big Island.
As we discovered during our walking tour, Moku Ola is unfortunately very susceptible to tsunamis. It has been hit by quite a few tsunamis over the years, and up until 1960, there had been a family living in a one-room house here on the island. They were lucky enough to receive a warning call about the tsunami, so they evacuated to Waiakea town with no injuries. It wiped the island clean, and no one has lived here since.
This is one of the many reasons why earth caches are just so darn cool. I would have passed right by this tree and never looked twice at it, except for the earth cache listing, which made us take a closer look. The tree marks the footage of each of these tsunamis that have hit and how high those tsunami waves are that came in. But if you look at this tree and you really look up there, the 1946 tsunami came in at 26 feet. That is mind-boggling to think about. That would wipe across this entire island, and looking across the water there, at least half that hotel right there would have been schwacked big time. Definitely not the place you want to be in a tsunami. I suggest you go inland a little bit and climb one of the many very tall mountains here in Hawaii if that warning ever goes off.
Looking southward from Coconut Island into Hilo Bay, we have the Waiakea Peninsula spread out before us, which includes Reach Bay Beach Park and the Lili'uokalani Gardens. Adventure lab stages, traditionals, earth caches, and puzzles circle the entire peninsula, encouraging us to take a full tour around it. The restored clock found on the southern end of the peninsula, with its hands frozen in time, stands as a memorial to the exact moment that the 1960 tsunami struck. Coming around the western end of the peninsula, we are immediately blown away by the beauty of the Lili'uokalani Gardens. This 24-acre gem was donated by Queen Lili'uokalani and now consists primarily of an Edo-style Japanese garden that was built between 1917 and 1919. Now at more than 100 years old, it is one of the largest gardens of its kind to be found anywhere outside of Japan. Dedicated as a tribute to the first Japanese immigrants who had worked on the Big Island sugarcane fields, this park is free to the public and open 24 hours a day. Even in rainy weather, there really is no such thing as a bad time to explore its beautifully landscaped grounds.
Of all people, you know that there was no way I was going to resist touring my way through a Japanese garden today. And I gotta tell you, this place is pretty cool. There's a lot of birds nesting, You can hear them chirping out in the background right now. A lot of people enjoying it, and it's just got a natural, calm feel here.
Despite the age of this park and its more traditional look, there's often a project going on to improve one aspect or another. Over the years, they've added things like additional fish ponds, more pathways, and a tea house, which had to be rebuilt after it was destroyed by a fire in 1994. There are also several historical objects to be found within the park, including this one that commemorates the signing of the first sister island relationship between Hawaii and Oshima, Japan on the 12th of February, 1962. And that is no fisherman's tale.
I have no doubt there are a bunch of people that come visit these parks who find this guide particularly helpful to know what they can keep and what kind of delicious dinner they can look forward to.
Through the Adventure Lab, we seek out several of my favorite trees around the appropriately named Banyan Drive. Several of these monstrous trees were planted by celebrities of the time, including the Babe Ruth banyan tree, planted by none other than Babe Ruth himself in 1933.
The Babe Ruth banyan tree is on quick approach to its 100th birthday. Check out how big this banyan tree has grown in less than 100 years now. These are some truly amazing species, and I'd be very interested to see where this ends up in the next 20 or 30 years.
Other famous plantings along Banyan Drive include contributions by Cecil DeMille, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Amelia Earhart, and Louis Armstrong, each one still standing strong.
This is one of those places where perspective makes all the difference. Check out the size of these leaves. I mean, I could use a couple of these as a blanket tonight.
For our last stop on the tour of the peninsula, we stop in for a brief visit to Reeds Bay Beach Park. This is a very popular spot for families, especially those with small kids, as it possesses one of the few things that the Big Island does not have very many of: white sandy beaches. It is also protected by the Hilo Harbor breakwater, which makes it a nice spot to play without getting beat by the waves.
Ooh, look at how pretty that one is with that full-size label covering it up, and it is loaded full of swag. You can see it all piled in the bottom here, and it looks like we got a nice clean logbook. Good, solid find, and with all that money in there, we might just be rich.
Here on the shore of Reeds Bay Beach Park, FlCrafters and I briefly consider potentially dipping our toes into the water. But then we realize that's for the birds. We have more caching to do, so on we go.
That's it. Very short tour to start things off here on the Big Island of Hawaii. We got to see in this small area of Hilo, Coconut Island, this beautiful Japanese garden, and the nearby beach park. Got to find several earth caches, adventure labs, geocaches, and get the beauty started off on the Big Island. Many more adventures here to come, but for now, make sure to like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.